David Banner, physician, scientist, searching for a way to tap it.
Hey up my old muckheads, welcome back to the channel. A brand new video from Stu. Now this one I've been excited to talk about because it's a passion of mine. It's a program I grew up watching. I've spoke about it on my other channel, which is a gaming channel, but I've brought everything to this channel. This channel I wanted to start because I wanted a place for vlogging. I wanted a place to talk about my passions, my rants, taste tests, reviews, all that stuff that's nothing to do with gaming. So I am here and I want to talk to you, about The Incredible Hulk, which I would class as my favourite TV show of all time. I can relate to David Banner because as a child, growing up, I think it was in secondary school, I can't remember the age range now, but I did form a friendship with this one kid. And everything was fine until halfway through the school year, we had a new kid arrive who was very similar to us. We were quite geeky, we were quite nerdy, we were into all sorts of... do you remember Nightmare? If you're from the UK, there was a children's program called Nightmare where you would... Well, the contestants, there was a team of four children. One of them would put on a helmet, a Viking helmet, but it had no way to see where you were going, so the other three children would guide you through this dungeon, so to speak. It's a bit like physical Dungeons and Dragons right there. All these geeky, nerdy shows we all enjoyed, often trying to recreate them in the playground. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. So this new kid joined halfway through the year. We took him under our wing. Eventually, those two guys formed a closer friendship, and I was sort of the odd one out. So he kind of fizzled off before the end of the actual school year. So since then, since my last couple of years at school and then going into college, I was kind of friendless. I had no friends at all, so I could relate to the character of David Banner from The Incredible Hulk. I'm talking about the 1977 debut of The Incredible Hulk, the pilot. Still talking about it, nearly 47 years old this would be. From November the 4th, 1977 was the original air date of the pilot. So I felt sympathy. For me, when I watch a film or a TV series, what drags me in is music, the theme tune. We always had that sad theme tune by Joe Hartnell, distinctively called The Lonely Man, at the end of every episode. The startup of each episode, apart from this pilot, as you'll see, started with that iconic theme at the start. Such a good theme tune, such a good soundtrack, all the way through the series. Emotional. You want actors who can pull you in and you can feel the emotion. So yes, it can be cheesy. Yes, it can... Well, it's sort of not... Some of the episodes are not dated too good. But at its core, for me, The Incredible Hulk is kind of emotional. It sends me back to a time when it was aired on Saturday afternoons here in the UK. Now, every other Saturday, we would go to my grandparents. Now, it was a time where the TV would not be on during the day. Not until the evening. So once you had your evening meal, your tea, then the TV would not be on before that. So I quite fondly, remember this memory of sitting in my grandma's living room. I remember the Hulk was on about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. So the TV was still not on, and my dad would be sitting next to me because I was terribly shy. I still am quite shy. I would nudge him with my elbow and give him the sign that, it's time for the Hulk. Would he ask Grandma if we could put the TV on and watch it? It gives me such fond memories of my Nanny May, who sadly passed away in the early 2000s. But yeah, I've got a lot of memories of the Hulk. I've got a lot of times in my life where I might have been going through a difficult situation, so I could relate to David Banner, and this feeling of, it does state that we've all got it, haven't we, within us. We've all got this rage, and sometimes, we've felt that anger of an event or someone really getting to us. And yeah, I've got a lot of memories. I do hold this series quite dear to my heart. As I said, the pilot was aired on November the 4th, 1977. I've got some notes. Now, it's created by Kenneth Johnson, who created the awesome shows back in the day. If you are a certain age, you'll remember growing up and watching these: The $6 Million Man, The Bionic Woman, and of course, the mini-series of V. Do you remember V? Such a great... all of these are so great. I highly recommend if you haven't checked them out. Kenneth Johnson is a genius. He wasn't passionate about the comic book when he was first approached to doing the Hulk. He has a dislike for the comic book. I've made a few notes, please excuse me. So he wanted the series to be more believable, and he wanted to come away from the comic book roots. And I know there's a ton of people out there who hate the fact that it came away from its comic book roots. I am so grateful that Kenneth did not want the Hulk to talk in this series, which of course he does in the comic books. I wasn't a fan of that. I wasn't even a fan of it in the comic books. I've read quite a few Hulk comics. He is my favourite Marvel hero. But yeah, he wanted the TV series to be an adult series, not particularly made for children, but it could be watchable by adults and children. He didn't like that at all. So he didn't want the Hulk to talk, we wanted the Hulk strength to be limited to make it more believable. And there was a dispute about the name change. Of course, in the comic books, it's Bruce Banner. It's not David Banner, it's Bruce Banner. And at first, when I first started watching this TV series, that's one thing that did annoy me, was the fact that, why is he called David and not Bruce? But as you read into it, they did change. He changed the name. Well, his version of the accounts was he changed the name because he didn't want the series to be perceived as a comic book. So he went with David, which of course is the name of his son. So it's homage to Kenneth Johnson's son, David. But on the flip side of that, the network, CBS, who was airing the episodes at the time, said that the name Bruce sounded a bit gay or gayish, so they weren't a fan of that name because it sounds gay. What? And that was Lou Ferrigno's reaction in an interview I recently watched. I'll tell you what else I recently watched. I recently watched an episode of what's his name? Mr. Rogers? Is it Mr. Rogers' Friendly Neighborhood? It suddenly popped up on my YouTube feed, and there was an episode there that did star Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno, and it was a fantastic look behind the scenes of the series. But I would have hated to watch it as a child because Bill was on it and it was explaining how it's all make-believe. Don't worry about this, that, and the other. You know, it looks scary, but it's all make-believe. None of it's real. That would have destroyed me if I watched that back in the day when I was a child. I fondly remember, I say fondly, the first time I watched it, I was absolutely terrified as a little Stu. But as I grew up, I had a fascination with it. The first Hulk out I think I watched on a trailer was in this episode, where he has a flat tire in the car, and it's the very first Hulk out. If you're a fan, you'll know what I'm talking about. That first Hulk out, to me, as I said, I watched it on the trailer. It absolutely terrified me to the point where I was having nightmares, and eventually my parents bought me a big figure of the Hulk, which really strange that I was taken to bed with me. And I remember lying in bed, holding on to this action figure of the Hulk, and you know how the moonlight light shines through the curtains? It was shining onto his face, and I was like this, and I was proper scared. But I think, looking back, it was probably my parents' way of getting through my fear of the Hulk. Because as time went on, as I said, as I grew older, I had a fascination with it, and I just, even though it terrified me, I wanted to watch it. And I just loved it. Terrified me, but I loved it. Weird. I obviously grew up into a big fan. As I said, I still watch it 47 years later. I'm still watching it. I must have watched each episode, especially in 1, 2, and 3. There's 5 episodes. Sorry, not 5 episodes. 5 series. 5 seasons of the Hulk. But I distinctly remember up to season 3. Season 4 onwards. Now, I've only watched those, I would say, probably in the last 10 years. So they're newish to me, season 4 and 5. Even though season 5 has only got, I think it's 5 episodes, because it was cancelled halfway through. But then we had Bill Bixby in the late 80s come up with 3, and I'm so glad he did, 3 TV movies, which were The Return of the Incredible Hulk, The Trial of the Incredible Hulk, and The Death of the Incredible Hulk. 3 movies that tie up the series. They introduce other Marvel characters. We had 4. We had Daredevil and Kingpin. I wasn't a fan of that. I wasn't a fan of the other Marvel characters coming in, but I can understand why they were doing it, because the big plan was for them to have their own spin-off series. Like Thor was going to have his own, I think it all got cancelled. Thor was going to have his own series, Daredevil, and so on. This was between 1988 and 1990. I think these films were released. Sorry, if I can get my words out. Bill Bixby, I've never watched him in another series of anything. I've never watched, I know he was in My Favourite Martian, The Magician. I briefly saw him in a Kentucky Fried Movie, which was, if you've never seen it, it's kind of like it's a sketch show. It's a movie, but it's like a sketch show. From what I remember, it was just a compilation of all different like sketches, comedy sketches, and he did pop up in there. That's the only other thing I've seen Bill in. So, do you know when you get used to an actor or actress that plays a particular part, and then you can't imagine them playing someone else in another show? So for me, Bill Bixby is David Bruce Banner. And Kenneth Johnson was, as admitted, he stated that Bill Bixby was his first and only choice to play David Banner. And at first, Bill, with the concept, he didn't want to take part in it. It was the same with a number of actors and actresses that starred in The Incredible Hulk. At first, they had this image of the comic book. They didn't want to take part in it. They didn't think it was serious enough. They thought it was like a kids' TV show. But once Bill Bixby had read the script of the pilot, he was on board with it, and he was very passionate about it. And I do believe before his death in 1993, he had planned to make a fourth Hulk movie, which was going to be called The Revenge of the Incredible Hulk. But then I've got reports that was scrapped before his death, so it wouldn't have happened anyway. Now, speaking of his death, he did sadly die on November the 21st, 1993. Complications with prostate cancer was the reasons. He was 59 at the time. To me, this may sound soppy, but this was the first celebrity death that I actually got quite upset about. You must feel the same about a celebrity. You know, a person you've never met, never been in contact with, you've only seen them on your favourite movie or TV show. I was genuinely upset about Bill Bixby's death. So what I'm going to go through is the pilot episode, which did air on November the 4th, 1977, all those years ago. I highly recommend getting this series. It's available on iTunes. The TV movies that were released in the late 80s, I don't think they are available. Certainly not in the UK. They might be available in your region, but they're certainly not. They're not available in the UK. Now, this one does star, shall I say, guest star, Susan Sullivan, who I remember from Falcon Crest. She plays Dr. Elena Marks. And Jack Colvin, who surprised me when he popped up in Child's Play. Chucky, Child's Play, the movie. When I first saw him in that film, I thought, I know him from somewhere. He's Jack McGee, that nasty, horrible reporter that's trying to pursue the Hulk. So this is kind of a review / reaction / look back on the actual episode, the pilot, of where it all begins. So let's have a gander at this. Now, it doesn't start off with the iconic entrance, the iconic intro. Starts off very eerie. And we're going to cut straight into kind of like a montage of David and his wife, Laura, if I'm right. Her name was Laura. You may find it quite cheesy. It was the late 70s. Some of it has not aged well. But I can feel the emotion on this. I can feel the love, the gentle, caring man that is David. I've completely forgotten his wife's name. Probably not a greatest star, but I think it's Laura or Lara. We'll soon find out. But it's kind of montage, kind of soft, picturesque montage of what David has just lost, or what he's about to lose. This opening sequence as well reminds me of... Have you watched Carrie, Sissy Spacek? When she's at the prom, she's doing that slow romantic dance with Tommy, and they get prom king and queen. They get called upon the stage, and it's all lovey-dovey. It's all nice. It's all romantic. It's nice. It's calm. And then, slap. You're slapped with that bucket of pig's blood that splashes all over it. It's such a great film if you've not watched it. check it out, Carrie. Stephen King's Carrie, the movie adaptation. Laura. There we go, Laura. He's doing measuring her trousers there, pants, whatever you want to call them. Interestingly enough, later on down the seasons, we do see David work in a garment factory. We're coming up to that Carrie moment in a minute. Something's gonna smack us. Something's going to hit us. The music, the mood suddenly changes. The tyre blows, the car rolls over. David actually gets thrown out the window, but Laura is trapped in the car. And David hasn't got the strength to toss the car back. He just hasn't got the strength. So in the background there, is he blaming himself for Laura's death? And it was all a dream. It was all a nightmare. She died. I think she passed away 11 months ago in the show. So it's almost a year afterwards. Now, David is fascinated and upset. I'll go one step higher than that. He's obsessed with trying to find that superhuman strength when you're in a situation like that. And usually, if you were just walking down the street, you wouldn't pick up and flip a flaming car. But in that stressful situation, there's something that triggers. There's something that triggers within all of us that suddenly we do get the strength. We do get the strength to flip that car. And so that's what he's after. He's blaming, in my opinion, he's blaming himself for her death because he couldn't save her. Now, this becomes apparent later on when they meet a mother and her son who were in exactly the same situation. They had same thing happened to them. The car rolled over. I don't know if it's exploding tire or what, but the car rolled over, and it was the mother saving the son. But she could do it. Now that really rages David, because why could she do it but he couldn't do it? And this is what happened.
The tire had blown out. It was the left front tire. It tore the wheel so hard that it just came right out of my hands. And they said the front wheel dug into the dirt and it started to roll. Then it rolled over. It kept on rolling. I thought it was never gonna stop.
It's all playing back in his mind because it's exactly the same situation that he was in, but he's distraught. He lost his wife almost a year ago in this very accident that she's explaining to him how she did it. She found that strength. As you would be distraught.
Now, according to my calculations, the weight was later found to be in excess of 1,200 pounds.
So he's now going to become obsessed with why did she have the strength and not him. There's a great friendship happening here between David and Susan. Sorry, not Susan. Elena. Elena Marks, his colleague from university. They've known each other for years. It's a kind of romance blossoming throughout this pilot episode.
How can you hope to examine a medical phenomenon with cool scientific objectivity?
If I keep losing my cool. You know, my mother always used to tell me getting angry doesn't help.
But you can see that the blossoming romance happening between them. So we carry on. There's another incident that's happened where this guy has saved his friend's life.
And all of a sudden, we were ambushed. I mean, VC all over the place. I saw a buddy of mine go down to the top of the hill.
The same friend that had saved your life in Da Nang.
Yes, sir. And I wasn't about to leave him face down in the mud in that hellhole.
So you went after him through all that enemy fire.
I don't really remember that part of it. I just remember I was determined to get Johnny out of there.
You don't remember being wounded?
No, sir. I was kind of busy.
And just how many bullets were taken out of you?
17, man.
So there's another incident, a couple of more incidents. He's taking this research. He's getting obsessed about this research. Now we do get introduced to Jack McGee, who is a reporter. Now Jack, the character of Jack McGee is a very frustrating character because you've got Bill Bixby. We, as the audience, we know he's such a sweet and gentle soul. He's a good guy, but then you've got this Jack McGee who's after that hot story, that promotion. You know, there's something that's going to get him that promotion at work, and he thinks this research that they're doing, he wants the scoop.
Everybody would like to know how to tap into their hidden strengths. Surely you can tell me something about that.
Nope, I'm sorry.
Why not? My newspaper is very interesting.
Oh, Mr. McGee, your newspaper is only interested in reporting murder, UFOs, and Farrah Fawcett. I don't happen to fit into any of those categories, and I wish not to be interviewed.
But is he going to take no for an answer? I don't think he does. Well, we know that he doesn't. Okay, skipping on. And so David is trying to work out why all these people had the strength to save their loved ones in tragic conditions. So he's doing a bit of research. It does end up going into researching gamma radiation that's coming from the sun.
Mr. Bram. High gamma each time. What about me?
So the day that David had his accident with his wife, the gamma radiation emitting from the sun was at its lowest. Everyone else was at those peaks. So, is it something to do with the gamma radiation that's giving these people that inner extra strength to help their loved ones in time of need? Is that the case? Is that where this is going? And do they have a machine that can expose him to this gamma radiation? And is that machine faulty or not? Is it currently being upgraded, but it's not ready yet? Right, so David, pop onto that machine, set it all up. Shall we see what happens? As I said, someone has been tampering around with the amount of gamma radiation. Now, what's the highest he can expose himself to? Don't do it, David. Do not do it. You see, there was a lever on there as well. I don't think it was in that clip, but there was a lever to switch on how much radiation you want yourself exposed to, and the top marker actually had a bit of tape over it. If you've watched it, you'll know. So he has no idea. He's obviously he's dialed it to the figure that's taped up. It's taped over, which in his mind, that top figure I think is 300,000. We'll see. But why has it been taped up? David? With the music as well, you instantly know that something tragic, something bad is about to happen. I love, like as I said at the start, I love the soundtrack to this entire show. The tragic moments are about to happen. You can sense that something's not right, and that's a sign of a good show or movie, isn't it? When they get the soundtrack spot on. So it's changing your DNA, it's changing your molecules. It's not good, David. It's not good. See, no one was there because he was in that much of a rush and that much obsessed with getting that extra strength, what he thinks is going to give him that extra strength. He didn't want to wait till the next day. Everyone had gone home if the shift had finished or whatever. He didn't want to wait. That's like most of us now, isn't it? Well, probably as human beings, we've probably always been like that. We probably always want that instant, don't we? We don't want to wait for stuff. We need that instant gratification. He's obsessed. He's totally obsessed. But has it worked? Maybe it needs a couple of hours to kick in. He's about to try lifting that bed again now that the procedure is over. Psst. So straight away, maybe it takes a few hours to kick in. Maybe it takes a few days to kick in. But this man is fuming right now. He's absolutely fuming. And now he's got to drive home. Chucking it down in rain. It's rain, thundering. The car's about to blow a tyre. Oh my word. This is what you need after a shift. After a terrible, miserable shift, this is what you need. Steady, David, steady. So, the inspiration for the Hulk from Stan Winston, at least, came from Frankenstein. He wanted. Should I correct myself? Frankenstein's monster. That's where the inspiration for the Hulk was for Stan, because he saw the Frankenstein's monster as the hero, as opposed to being a villain. He was gentle. He was almost childlike. He wasn't the nasty one. It was the people with the pitchforks. This is not going to end well, changing this tyre. This is what terrified me as a child. You imagine watching that as a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old child, literally scared out your wits. It was such, but there was a fascination about it because you had this contrast. I mean, Jekyll and Hyde has been another inspiration for Kenneth Johnson, I think. Les Miserables was also another inspiration. Concerning Jack McGee, anyways, I think the fascination was the transformation, because David Banner was this gentle, kind, selfless man who would do anything for anyone. But as the series goes on, you see him moving from town to town, and he's helping people. He's getting involved. For me, I know there would be no program if he did not get involved. But there's stuff that he does, and you think, David, you should not have got involved. Just keep yourself to yourself. Try and stay calm. Because he's looking for, ultimately, what's happening now. He wants to get rid of it. So he wanted it, but now he wants to get rid of it. Or he wants to control it. So he's almost treating the Hulk like a disease that he's trying to find the cure. Then throughout the seasons, there are many, many times where David wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for the Hulk. There's certain situations he gets himself into, which, as a normal human being, you would not have survived. It's all thanks to the Hulk that David is still alive in some of these situations. But this pilot episode, you got what you wanted. You have got our strength. What? That classic shot that they used, well, they will use in the opening sequence to each episode. Yeah, never mind the tyre, screw the car. And he did. Well, he flipped it over the edge down a ditch. But now we go back to that comparison to Frankenstein's monster. There's nothing evil about the Hulk. It's just a situation that he was in that made David angry. He's turned into the Hulk. The Hulk has probably shoved a few things around, smashed a few cars and whatnot. But once that situation is diffused, he's got that time from when he transforms back into David. So we're going back now to Frankenstein's monster. And this is proof that the Hulk is not evil.
Get away from me! Daddy! Daddy, help!
But it's the right reaction, isn't it? If you were a child and you had just looked up and saw that face looking down at you and holding out a big green arm, bloody hell, you'd be piddling yourself and running off. You would find the inner strength, the super strength, to run as fast as the Flash. Flaming egg. But going back to the Hulk, now Kenneth Johnson was not a fan of the Hulk being green. He wanted the Hulk to be red, because red is a more human colour. He didn't see why the Hulk was green. Because when we become flustered, we get red, don't we? We get red cheeks. We're red. He wanted the Hulk to be red, is what I'm trying to get at. It's a human colour. He had the name change. You didn't, you got your David instead of Bruce, although Bruce remained as a middle name for David. Stan wasn't having it. He wanted the Hulk screen. So you're going to have to put up with that. So that was one thing that Kenneth, he didn't agree on. And all he's doing is he's just trying to save her.
Susie! What's wrong?
So, yeah, like I said, all he's doing is just trying to save the little girl who jumped into a boat. She tries to get away from the Hulk. Of course, the boat tips over. She fell in. The Hulk's trying to offer her a literal tree, the branch, to grab hold of. But Dad does not see this. Dad sees this as a monster trying to attack his daughter. Now, a fun fact, if I can try and get to it, is that one of these scenes, I don't think I can find it. There's a scene here somewhere where it is actually not Lou Ferrigno, it's Richard Keel. I hope I've said that right. Richard Keel, or otherwise better known as Jaws from the Bond movies. I don't think I can get the precise moment. He did film scenes for the Hulk. They left this particular... It's a split second. Now, according to interviews, Kenneth Johnson's son had said that, look, Richard Keel is very tall. He's a very tall man. He's built, but he's not as big. He needs to be bigger. So that's when Lou Ferrigno got the part. Apparently Richard hated the contact lenses. He found them very painful to wear. So he was fine. He was fine with being let go. But let's just see. I'm not too sure if this is the actual clip. I think I failed to capture it, but there is a split second clip in there somewhere. If you do manage to find it, please let me know the timestamp from the actual episode. Now, so Dad did get a shot in the arm, as you saw there. So the Hulk now is, after that little bit of temper tantrum of lifting up the tent and causing havoc at the campsite, he's starting to calm down now, as we can see here. To me, that was a shocking sight as well, those contact lenses. Seeing that face as a kid. Because those contact lenses were always associated with horror films, weren't they? They were used for vampires. They were in movies like Salem's Lot, The Lost Boys. All the vampires had those evil, monstrous looking contact lenses, which do great effect for when Bill Bixby, David Banner, hawks out. It's the first sign that we know this is it. This is it. There's the transformation about to happen. There's no turning back once those contact lenses are in. So David now has managed to get back to Elena and explains to her what he actually did. Now, she knows what's up with that dial, that the amounts of gamma radiation he's actually received, it wasn't 300,000
I went to radiology and I took a gamma injection. I tried to call you, but you weren't here, and I was anxious.
Over anxious. How much did you take?
I went all the way and I took 300,000 units.
Oh, David!
So the rest of the episode now is going to continue with Elena trying to figure out or see for herself this transformation that he's about to explain to her. Because if you're a fan of the show, you'll know that once he becomes the Hulk, he doesn't remember. He doesn't remember anything that's happened until he obviously transforms back to David. So he has no idea. He'll just have the last memory of the moment that he became raged. So he needs her to try and figure out what happens to him once he transforms into the Hulk. Now, they're about to go to a unused part of the laboratory that conveniently has got a containment unit which is being built for underwater research. I think that's what it was. Anyway, whatever he turns into, she's about to find out. They want to recreate that moment of it happening. Can they recreate him transforming?
Modified the radiology unit in excess of 300,000, but there was no marking on the tape.
Well, he hadn't calibrated it yet. He was going to work on it this morning. He didn't know how high he could get it to go.
Well, how high did he get?
Almost 2 million units.
So at least we now know how much gamma radiation he was exposed to. It wasn't 300,000, it was 2 million flaming units.
David, what are you doing in there?
Creating a little rainstorm.
How?
There's 160 pounds of pressure behind the main water feed. I'm opening it up a little.
So he's got the darkness, he's got the rain. But he has no idea at this point the reason why he transformed into the Hulk. He's no idea that they've got to make him extremely angry. Not hungry, angry. Do they succeed?
Still nothing, David. We'd better stop. I don't see any purpose in going on.
He's desperately... Like you would be desperate to find out what actually happened. What triggered that rage. But it's not happening.
Sorry about all the hassle over this.
David. Look, you may be in there alone, but we're in this together, huh?
As usual.
As usual.
There you go. Bit of a blossoming romance, maybe. So, what's going to happen next? Are they going to hit the nail on the head? What's going to trigger him? Maybe a nightmare. Perhaps.
The agitation is reaching an extreme level.
So it's time now for Elena to meet the Hulk.
Now it's moving towards the hatch door. It's pounding on the airlock bulkhead. It's unbelievable. The hull is 3 inches thick of chromium alloy steel, and yet this creature is able to make dents in it by using both hands together.
I don't know about you, but I would not be standing there where she is voice recording what is happening, I would have ran. I'm sorry. I would have ran. Can you imagine that? Looking at that. It's about to bust open. Sorry, I would be petrified.
It's okay. That's it. Can you understand me? Can you understand me? Can you speak?
I think she'll be able to calm him down. In this classic scene of the Hulk transforming back into David.
It's all right. It's all right, David. Just rest easy.
What would have been a great idea was for them to record it, get some video evidence so he can see for himself what he actually looks like once he's transformed into the Hulk. I don't think, apart from, spoiler alert, one of the TV movies, I think it was the death of the Incredible Hulk. I think that's the one and only time where he actually sees a recording of him as the Hulk, and that's the first time he's seen the Hulk. Going through the series though and remembering certain episodes, there are the Hulk and David in the same scene through, I think it's some sort of dream, where the Hulk is chasing David through a desert. Now I can't remember what this episode is called. So theoretically you could say that he has seen the Hulk. I just can't remember what episode this was. It's going to bug me now. Anyway, let's get back to this pilot. So she knows now. She's seen it. She's going to explain to him what actually happened.
Just at the moment of metamorphosis. Now look at these lines. The intelligence level drops. The primitive emotions take over the brain and the body. And that is just what this creature is like. It's like a primitive. It's like a childish subhuman.
But what made me physically change?
It was the gamma radiation, David. 2 million units. Not 300,000. 2 million. So what happens now? Can he find a way to control it? Is there going to be some interference? Is someone lurking around that laboratory?
That's a plaster cast of a footprint they found near the car.
Now this begins Jack McGee's obsession into tracking down the Hulk. His obsession with David and the Hulk.
Well, listen, since we're all together, why don't we go inside and talk it over?
No.
Mr. McGee, have you been inoculated for tubercular bacilli?
Come again?
Well played, Elena. Well bloody played.
At least we know where the bullet wound came from.
Right, and we have further proof that the creature won't kill.
Hasn't killed.
Won't kill, David.
So, the Hulk is David. David would not harm anyone. So she sees no reason to believe that the Hulk would. But we've got Jack still snooping around this laboratory. He didn't go. He's not left them. And ultimately, he cocks it all up, to put it bluntly. He does cock it all up.
I'll crank it up to 200 rads, then we'll do your DNA scan. That should give us an indication of whether the therapy will work or not.
So we're now trying to reverse the process. We're trying to cure David. Whether it works or not, it's worth a shot, yeah?
Okay, ready?
Yes?
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Begin.
They're trying to rebalance his DNA. They're trying to cure him. But who's prattling about in the background? Good old Jack McGee, the investigative reporter. The footprint.
Yeah, it's on the edge of the Institute's property.
So he's under the impression they've got a creature hanging around and it's escaped. It's escaped from its pod. How are they going to get out of this one?
Now admit it, Doctor, you know something about that big hulking creature that's been attacking people, don't you?
No.
Oh, come on, Doctor, now don't play games. You want to explain that big wet footprint to me?
He's not having it. He is not having it, but what's about to happen? Because he's tipped over that jug. He tipped over that jug, old Jack McGee.
Mr. McGee, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
If he wasn't snooping around, this would not have happened. So, if you're not too familiar with the Hulk, there's a certain formula through an episode like this. Let's call this classed as a TV movie, this pilot. So, in a TV movie, you'll see a Hulk transformation 3 times. In a TV episode, which is usually about 45 minutes, you will see a Hulk out 2 times. Interesting fact. Let's see what's going to crack off now. Are we going to get our third? Is it the third? Yeah. Because we had the car, the flat tire on the car, the nightmare they had about saving his wife, and now this, thanks to Jack. Get the Hulk in there and save her before it's too late. In the meantime, what about Jack? This wouldn't have happened. It's his fault. So the Hulk's in. He's gonna lift up the debris that's lying on top of her that's trapped her. But is it too late?
Oh, God, my poor David. Oh, we'll take care of you now.
Very sad scene. Very sad scene. She did not survive. The Hulk gets upset. Like she said, who's going to look after him?
The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face to shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace.
So there you go. You read that right. So because obviously he was the Hulk, nobody found David's body. Nobody saw David. So he's presumed dead, which is Is it the worst case scenario for him? The man has been presumed dead. Could he, looking back on this episode, could he have just gone in, I don't know, to the local police station and declared himself alive? Look, I'm still here, I'm not dead. And just try to, it's probably easier said than done, isn't it? Try to hide the fact that he's the Hulk. I don't know. What would have happened if he just admitted, look, I'm alive? Then I suppose we would not have got the series that we eventually got. But yeah, sad times. He's had to make people believe that he is dead, as you'll see in this. This is the news. This is the National Register. Jack McGee's paper that he edits for. He what do you call it? He's a journalist for this newspaper. There you have it. The Incredible Hulk kills 2. This is what Jack McGee is going to make people believe. So that leaves David no other options, I suppose. Because he's making people believe that the Hulk does kill.
And it sells newspapers. Look, Doctor. I saw what that creature did to a steel chamber. And I heard your friends talking. They were scared to death it was coming back.
You actually saw the thing?
You're damn right I did.
There you go. That's the media for you. Twisting information. Giving us fake news. Good old Jack. And this was his way of getting a promotion, chasing down that story of the Hulk, because it's gonna sell papers, isn't it? If you read that on the front cover, you'll buy that magazine, newspaper. So now he goes on making people believe that David Banner is not with us anymore. He's dead. David Banner is dead. Now I don't know what David's plan is. Well, I know that he wants to find a cure, or he wants to find a way of controlling the metamorphosis. He wants to be in control of when it happens, or he wants a cure, total off cure. But what I never understood was, say he got that cure, then what? Would he have gone back to being David Banner? Would he have then confessed, look, I did not die in that accident? Or would he have continued to live under a false name that you'll see in each episode? He had a different surname that began with a B, so Benson, Bennett, loads of different aliases, but it was always David. But I hope you enjoyed that. That pilot episode, it laid down the foundation of what this series is all about. It's all about David trying to find help, trying to find a cure, or trying to find a way to control the anger that dwells within. Did you see what I did? The anger. Okay, if you did like this, please consider subscribing. Please consider hitting the like button. And hopefully I'll see you very, very soon. Take care.